use my trusty dead blow and kind of whack it a little bit, and kind of whack it a little bit, and kind of whack it a little bit.
Wrenching it up, gonna wrench it up. Welcome to Saturday's Wrench.
Hey guys, and welcome back. And today's a pretty exciting day. I've decided that I want to split these cases, so it's going to be a little bit of a journey for me. I've never done anything like that before, but they got to come apart. I decided that I want to check all the gears. I want to check the crankshaft for wear, proper wear, and all that. And I decided that basically while I'm here with the engine, I might as well take it apart. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. I have to remove the piston heads here, and there's, I think, like 11 or 12 bolts underneath and on top. So we got to remove that and then split the cases, and inside you're gonna see the transmission and the main drive, and you're gonna see the crankshaft. So that should be pretty exciting. So we'll get started here today, and we'll try and get these cases apart. I'm going to be very careful not to lose any of the parts or to damage any of the mating surfaces. We're not going to pry the cases apart with anything. I'm just going to try and use my trusty dead blow and kind of whack it a little bit, and then we'll get it apart. I hope you guys are ready for this. I'm kind of nervous, but I think everyone is for the first time doing this. There's a lot of intricate parts in there, and some really tight tolerances with the spacing and everything, and you got to make sure you put everything right back the proper exact way, or you're gonna have pretty much a broken engine on your hands. So I've got my manual. I'm gonna take my time, and I think it'll be a lot of fun, so let's get at it. So really, for the first order of business is you have to remove these little clips from the piston head here, and that holds this little rod that connects it to the connecting rod. So I'm pushing out the piston pin here from the connecting rod, and once I get that all the way out, I'll be able to lift these piston heads off. So there's 2 clips, there's 1 on either side, so there's 4 altogether. I haven't done this one yet, so we'll get the pin, we'll get all the clips out of the way, and then we'll get the pin out, and we'll be able to take those piston heads out. And again, you want to be really careful not to damage any of this stuff. You want to keep everything, you can see your piston pin there. You want to keep all your stuff together, so that should lift right off the connecting rod there. No problem. So now you can see your piston head here. Pretty normal carbon deposit on the front, actually. Doing my research, been looking at a lot of different engine rebuilds and everything, and this engine has actually been really clean. The oil slinger, I've seen some nightmare pictures of people on forums with a lot of gunk, people putting the wrong sealant on their gaskets, and that just gets in everywhere. So it's really important to use the proper sealant, use the proper stuff to get this engine back together, because when that gets back into your engine, you're gonna have a lot of breakdown and problems. So now we can remove the piston. I'm gonna work on the other one here, get the clip off, and we'll get both of them out of the way. Basically what you need to do is just get it in there and try and, there you go. So you can see that pops out. There's that. And there you go. So you can see the 2 connecting rods here. Now that I have the pistons out of the way, I need to flip over the engine, and undo the bolt. Okay, really next what I'm trying to do here is move this cam chain roller here. So the gasket's just in the way, so I just had to break it through. Now the gasket won't come out. So basically you get this little piece and these 2 little guys here. They kind of fit onto this, like little plugs that fit onto the end. So when you're removing this, just make sure you don't lose them inside the engine. I used my magnet to this little, remember this little guy I used for the pistons, the springs, to get the springs off. So yeah, I just used them to suck these guys up basically, and then I just pulled that up through, just pulled this guy through, and then I'm able to get, see, this starts to come apart here, a roller. So you have your cam chain rollers and everything. I'm gonna move these out of the way. So here's your cam chain roller, and that has a little pin inside there like that. So someone on a forum was pointing out that these don't really have teeth. They're really kind of just meant to be like that. So I was a little nervous that that might have broken up inside my engine. So, but that's not the case really. That's actually what they look like. What we're gonna do next is remove this starter motor and move the chain on the other side. I'll flip the engine around so you could see and get you a better shot of that. So right here you could see your alternator and your starter motors here with your starter motor chain and cog. I don't have a flywheel puller. Apparently you need a flywheel puller to get this apart. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, but I'm just gonna leave this stuff on. I'm actually just gonna leave the starter on and the alternator on. I know you can get it apart otherwise, but I know this this thing here comes off, this cog from the starter motor. So we'll just remove this and we'll get the starter chain out of the way. Your alternator is a magnet, so it's obviously going to stick. But so we'll get the starter chain out of the starter motor chain out of the way and the cog here, and I'll make sure to put this aside and make sure I document that. So other than that, you just have this little bolt here. So I'm just gonna remove it. I already loosened it, so I'm just gonna get that out of the way. Now we can get on to flipping this upside down and getting the bolts on the bottom. And I think there's a few on the top, so we'll do those first, and then I'll flip it around and we'll do the bottom ones. Okay, so I'm just gonna go on to removing these guys here on the sides. I've already gone ahead and loosened those. So that's my last bolt on the top here. So I removed here, this and this on these sides. I can't seem to find any other bolts. Everything else is on the bottom. So what I'll do is I'm going to flip this around and we'll get onto the bottom side. Okay, so we're on the back side of the engine here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm counting bolts. So I'm just going to go ahead and loosen them all off, and then I'll be right back. It's a beautiful sound, isn't it? Alright guys, so we're back. I've removed all the screws, I think, from the bottom of the case here. You can see all this nasty crud on here. Looking to get that cleaned up. It's probably just gonna get dirty again, but it will give me solace to know that it's clean. So what's left really is just to get this to split these cases. So basically all we have to do is kind of maybe just give it a little tap with the dead blow hammer. Be very careful. You don't want to be damaging any of the fins. You don't want to be cracking off any of the pieces from the engine case. You definitely don't want to be cracking the engine case. So use a nice rubber mallet, dead blow rubber mallet, and you know, we'll give it some taps. We'll try and get it to crack loose here. I've never ever done this before, so I don't really know exactly what to expect here. So I think I've removed all the screws, I hope, and from here we just gotta try and get it apart. So alright, here goes nothing, guys. Choosing to whack it on some of the stronger points. Okay, so just continuing on, guys. Been giving it a few whacks, just here and there. And it seems to be loosening. So you can see on here, it wants to come, but there's something holding it on this side here. I don't know what it is. But still working on it. And resist the urge to pry. You definitely don't want to be sticking anything in between. So just resist the urge to pry this apart with any metal tools or anything. You don't want to damage the seal in between the two halves here, the two crankcases. So I'm just gonna still keep working on this. Bear with me, and we'll get it eventually. We almost got it. Getting looser and looser. We got it. Woo! Split my first case, bitches. Holy shit. And look at this bad boy. So you got your crankshaft here and your transmission, your gears. You can see this is your lower crankcase here. And you can see in the bottom of the crankcase here, this engine is actually in pretty great shape, to be honest with you. So now I know for sure that the PO took really good care of this engine here. Try and get you a better shot of the gears and everything in a sec, but here's your splash guard, and this is cool. This is really cool. So nothing seems to be out of the ordinary in the cases here. So that's really good. Definitely was warned in the book. There seems to be this rubber piece here. You don't want to lose that. Holy crap, so there it is. My first engine cracking. Splitting the cases here on this Honda 350. And that's pretty beautiful. Got to check all these things for wear and damage in the teeth. Everything seems to be pretty nice. Again, nothing weird in the cases. Everything seems to be pretty normal. So again, there doesn't seem to be a gasket on this piece. Just take special note of that. Now look at all these pieces and clean everything out. From here, what we need to do is just remove the transmission. That should pop out. We'll get these out here. So we'll move the transmission, and then take out the crankshaft, and we'll get all the rest of the pieces out. Really stoked about to have these apart. The next move I need to make is to remove the transmission and the crankshaft here. So these were just 12mm hex bolts, and just went ahead and loosened them. They were pretty tight, so you're gonna have to do your best to get off those. Okay, so just removing the last 12mm hex bolt here, and we'll go ahead after this and get that crankshaft. So crankshaft holder should come off. There we go. You can see that. There's some grittiness going on in the bottom of this crankshaft holder, but that's okay. Ideally, it would have been really nice to get the alternator off. Eventually, I will do it. I read that you need a fly puller for this, so it would have been nice to get this off, but I'll do it another time. right now we're just going to lift out the crankshaft here. And this is pretty heavy. Nice heavy guy here. So you can see your crankshaft here. And I'll have to get all this measured and tested for wear and everything like that. So we're going to put this bad boy aside and we'll get on to moving those gears out of the way. Okay, so we got those, we got the crankshaft out of the way, and you're gonna find two dowels here, one here and one here. Well, that's where they are in my cases. They're stuck in there. Look at that, removing those later, but definitely those are locating dowels for the crank cases, so they help it go on straight. So take note of those and make sure that you don't lose those. And these should just lift out. I've already kind of gone ahead and loosened them a little bit. I took a lot of pictures to make sure I remember exactly how these are going in place. So these should just lift right out. So that's one gear here. There we go. So this cap here. So that's just holding it up there. Just put that aside for now. We should be able to lift this out here. So we got that out of the way. The teeth look great on this. Everything seems to be in pretty good shape. So pretty excited about that. It's really nice to see no surprises in the engine. As you could see, it looks pretty nice inside. So that's really comforting. So now that I have all these cases apart, I can go ahead and check all the oil wells and make sure they're clean. I can clean out my cases. I can check all my parts, make sure they're not worn down too much. I'm gonna guess that this engine is all gonna be in spec because everything's been really clean so far. So, and everything's just been really nice and tidy in this engine here. So I'm gonna go ahead and guess that probably won't need too much servicing, but you never know, right? So last but not least, we have your forks here. Shifting forks, I think they're called. I just need to get on the side here, and there's a bolt here that I need to loosen to get that off, so we'll get that right now. Alright, so just on the side of the engine here with where the cog sits right here for the chain. So there's this little piece here. I unscrewed it. That connects to those forks underneath here that runs all the way through. So the screw, you can see there's a screw there, and there's like this little divot thing. You can see that there. That fits into this little divot in the middle of this shaft here. Just try and get you a close-up of that. So you can see how that was put together. And this fucker is stripped, but this little divot thing fits into there. Alright, so this little guy right here is called your shift cam and these are your shift forks. These are naturally how they sit when the transmission's in here. Two on the, I believe that's the main drive, and then one on the secondary drive. So we have to go about taking this apart. Basically, you have to take this off. So there's a shifter mechanism on the side. I've already removed that. I've already removed the stopper on the side here and the screw on this side. This is your neutral switch rotor. So I've already removed that. So what I need to do here is remove these pins. You could see these little, they're like little pins here. I need to remove those. There you go, see that little pin there? So I got the 3 pins out, and apparently there are some shift fork guide pins in here that I need to get out, and I do not know how to get them out. Basically, for the those pins that were in the shift forks here, basically all you have to really kind of do, I got them out off camera because the camera was in the way, but sorry about that. But basically all you'd have to do is just give this some gravity here, and I just kind of, I don't know how the proper procedure, to be honest with you, but I just kind of wiggled it, and two of them fell out, and then I just gave it some a little more gravity, and I just kind of tapped it a bit and tapped it like this, and I was able to get the pins out. You can see my little magnet. Picked them up. So I have those little. So I have the pin clips, which keep those in place, and I have the pins here. These little pins that go in here and keep these in the little grooves. So I'll just keep that aside for now. Those are all my magnets keeping those together. And I'll just turn this upside down, and I should be able to, now that those forks are free, should be able to now just slide this guy through here. So there we go. So here's your shift cam, and these are your shift forks. I'll just put this up here in a second. So here are my shift forks. So I'll go ahead and take these, take pictures of these so I know exactly which way they went. I'm sure it's in the manual, but just for my own reference, just to keep everything organized. You can see there's an N on this one, and there is a C on this one, and there is a, looks like a 16, or maybe that's a 91. I think that's a 91. So I'll go ahead and take some pictures of this, and then I think the next thing I want to do is take this oil splash guard off of the bottom crankcase. I was thinking about removing this oil splash guard here, but you know what? I'm gonna leave it on for now. I don't have any I don't have any JIS bits to fit onto these screws, and I really don't want to strip them. I tried to do it with my other screwdriver, and it was starting to slip a bit, and honestly, I don't really want to. I don't want to strip these guys. So the main goal today was just to get these cases apart. So I feel pretty good about that. So I'm going to leave this in here for now and research getting on those JIS bits so I can get this off. And this Kickstarter, I'll just leave that for now. I'm going to remove that, but I think we're done for today. It's getting later in the day, and I think I'm going to leave it here. So yeah, we'll leave this for now, and the oil pan, and sorry, the talking about the Kickstarter here, I'm going to leave that on there for now, and this oil pan, and I'll look at getting those off later. Okay guys, so you could see all the parts I've laid out on the floor here. You have your cam chain tensioner bits up here, the crankshaft holder with the 4 bolts, your piston heads here with the pins. These are the crankcase bolts. The 2 up the top are from the top, and the other ones are from the bottom. Try to lay those out in a way that I remember how to put those back. I have new bolts coming, so I'll use this as a reference on how they go back. You have your cam chain, that's also being replaced, so put that aside for now. You have your crank shaft here. I have to get all that checked out, make sure that's all on spec. I might take that to a machinist to do, or just buy some dials and do it myself. We'll see. You have down here your cam gear. So down here you have your shift cam with your forks, the 3 forks there. We just took off, and the pins for the forks and the clips. You have your transmission here, your gears, all your gears there. Your shift arm stopper and the pin there, and your starter motor chain here. And some bits that were on top of the for the gears. So everything's laid out, and I'm feeling good. I feel good about this. So I'm gonna catalog all this stuff, put it away, so that when I get those new engine parts, they're all organized and these are ready to go. Fucking Lion King, bro. My first engine case cracked today. I feel pretty good about that. We're gonna clean this beast up. Looks pretty nasty. I'm gonna clean it all up inside and out, and then we'll get all the get it back together, squeaky clean. Make sure you don't lose these dowels. There's a dowel here and a dowel there. I've already said that. So we got the cases apart. That was a pretty adventurous little endeavor there. I feel pretty good about that. Thanks again for watching, guys, and thanks for all the love you've been giving me in the forums, and on the videos, commenting on the videos and everything. Really appreciate that. It's nice to know that people are liking what I'm doing, you're liking the videos and everything. I do just want to warn you just to do your due diligence when you're taking apart engines like this. These engines are very intricate. There's a lot of moving parts. So just do your research and make sure that you ask a lot of questions to someone that might have done this before. I did a lot of research before I went into this. So just be careful, ask a lot of questions, and try and get some advice from someone that might have done this before, or in the forums or whatever. So if you do decide to do it, just take your time and be careful and have fun with it. It was really neat to see how all the parts came together. Just looking inside the engine, I already feel like I'm way more comfortable with, you know, what's going on inside there. So for the next step, I want to check all the wear tolerances. I have to make sure that the bearings on the crankshaft are in good condition and that they're rotating properly and there's no run out or anything. So I've got some tools for that. I'm gonna have to borrow some of my dad's old dials and stuff. I think that'll be the next step. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and thanks for the love in the forums and everything, and online and in the videos. And I'm glad that these videos are helping you guys out. So subscribe to the videos, guys. We've got a lot more stuff to come, and I'm gonna try and get all this stuff back together. The easy part's over. Now it's trying to get everything back together with the new upgraded parts and cleaning everything and putting everything back together. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you again on another Saturday's Wrench.
Wrenching it up, gonna wrench it up. Yeah. Wrench, wrenchity-roo, wrench-roo.